Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Beyond Max Q. I'm your host, Mollie Jahner. I am joined today by CEO, co-founder of Aphid, Brandon Cooper. I had the privilege of meeting him in the last 2 weeks, and I'm already a huge fan. I love how he approaches business, his mindset, how he treats his team, and more importantly, the really, really cool stuff that he's building. So with that, sir, would you mind introducing yourself a little bit and telling us about all the cool things you're doing?
Terrific. Thanks for having me, Molly. Really, really appreciate it. I'm Brandon Cooper. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Aphid. My background, I'm from Detroit, Michigan. Lived in Georgia for some time. Also built a company out in Los Angeles, Silicon Beach area. My background is in artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, also Web3, so cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, self-taught since I was about 15 years old, been in tech, and I'm glad to share my crazy world with everyone listening today.
Well, and you've been on ESPN and list all the things because when you told me at first, it was very impressive.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not a person to be braggadocious, but if you insist, yeah,
I do.
I've been blessed and fortunate enough to be featured in Forbes, CBS, NBC, Fox, TEDx, FinTech TV, probably about somewhere between 30 to 50 publications to this date. Really too many to name. Steve Harvey, a lot of different things. So yeah, I'm very, very fortunate to have the opportunity to share my vision and share my background and my expertise with the world.
Well, I love the word braggadocious. I haven't heard that in ages. So well done using the vocabulary. I do want to dive right in. So tell us about Aphid. What are you building? Why is it important?
Yeah, Aphid is an ecosystem that creates a digital clone of yourself.
Hmm.
So just kind of imagine what you would typically do on a computer, but imagine taking what you know and putting it into a digital form where it runs autonomously, means it runs 24/7 on your behalf. This way, with Aphid, um, you're able to work in multiple places all over the internet at one time. We're very accustomed to having to clock into a job, or you work for a salary or whatever it may be. You can only work at that particular job during those hours. You clock in at 9 and then you're off at 5, right? But with the digital version of yourself, you can basically train it to do certain tasks on the internet and
Hmm.
it runs 24/7. So whether that task may be a time saving task or if it's for a monetary value, now when AI replaces us, the human is actually compensated when
Hmm.
AI replaces us, opposed to us going extinct. And we don't have to worry as much about universal basic income, which is, in essence, a way where robots have taken so many jobs that we get a quote unquote stimulus check every single month just to just to survive and be able to pay the minimum amount of bills. So that's why AFID was ultimately created, is to open up the mind for people to understand that you don't have to be everywhere to get things done, and you don't have to live for Saturday and Sunday and then get back on the hamster wheel from Monday through Friday. So we're completely disrupting the workforce economy for the better of humanity.
I love that. And can anybody use it? Right? When you think about who
Yes.
you're creating it for?
Yes, it's for personal use. So our beta that we're about to roll out is going to introduce it to the everyday person. So a real estate agent is going to use it a different way than,
Hmm.
say, I may use it in particular. I might want to use my clones to trade stocks or crypto or whatever for me automatically to make me money. But a real estate agent is just like, well, I needed to talk to people to try to book showings and things like that for leads. So there are different use cases in terms of how a person can use it. But we're more, as a company, focused on the engine itself,
Hmm.
to give you the options to take what you know, because no one can be Molly the way Molly can be Molly. No one
Right.
can be Brandon the way that Brandon can be Brandon, right? That's what makes us unique in the world with our particular skill sets.
Mhm.
And then in a very near future, we're going to open up our subscription plans to businesses, primarily small, medium-sized businesses. They call them SMBs.
Okay.
This is where 8 out of 10 small businesses in the United States don't have any staff at all.
Mm.
8 out of 10 is a very, very large amount. So by having digital clones of yourself operating, a lot of these solopreneurs can run their businesses because
Yes.
they'll have five clones of themselves doing sales, marketing, everything else.
That's amazing. So what does the pricing look like on I know you're in the beta, but, like, what would it look
Yeah,
like to do it? Sign up.
yeah, give or take. So the pricing model for personal is going to be 9.99 a month, so just $10, as people always say, price of coffee.
Yeah.
And for businesses is going to be somewhere in the range of near 79 to $100, give or take. But you have
That
a
doesn't
lot
seem
more.
very expensive for having
Yes,
clones and, like, how much work that they're gonna potentially help you with, right? That's crazy.
yes, certainly. We want to make it affordable because
Yeah.
the economy is. I mean, the economy is really in a bad place right now.
Mhm.
So we want something to where a lot of small businesses who are really trying to grind it out, they may or
Yeah.
may not have capital. They can afford to run operations at a very low amount. Because
Mhm.
even if you're just hiring one person
Mhm.
at a minimum salary of 50,000, 60,000, I mean, if you compare that to just $100 a month or our upper echelon plans, it's a fraction of that,
Mhm.
um, by a large amount.
That's amazing. So what does the security look like on this? Like, you said you'd
Yeah.
have it be trading stocks or doing crypto. Like, I feel like I need one so that I could, like, it would know more than me. Or is it just
Yeah.
based on the knowledge that you have?
So it's a hybrid. You're either sourcing information from what you're downloading into your
Okay.
clone. If you're using a machine learning model, that's third party because we allow you to switch out your machine learning model, like switch the brain on the clone.
Okay.
If you want to use Gemini for a particular use case, then you would activate Gemini to
Okay.
do that task. And then that is based on Gemini's policies. If you're
Mhm.
using something that is native to Aphid, for instance, our native machine learning model is going to be called Gambarian. Um, then Aphid is liable for certain things, but we have
Okay.
disclaimers to say results are based on market conditions. There could be technical issues, things like that, but you have to use it at your own discretion.
Mhm.
And then when it comes to healthcare and these different things, it's up for the companies to be HIPAA compliant. So that's a like a different swim lane. Real estate has their own safeguards and things for what's legal in certain states,
Mhm.
what's prohibited in another state. Are you a cannabis company? Things like that. Um, it's all ingested from the owner. So our terms of service, privacy policies, these things in place are basically safeguarded based upon those disclaimers to say this is how you can use it in particular. Cybersecurity wise, it's just more of just trying to prevent fraud and
Mhm.
hackers and things like that in the system.
I mean, this is super cool. I love this. And I love the idea about it too. I think it's so important. You think about AI democratizing, access, opportunity, and like you said, now potentially income. I would love to kind of talk to you about why now. I think you've touched on it a little bit, but
Yeah.
you've been a founder. How long have you been working on Aphid? And what does your founder journey look like?
Cool. So the why now question, as you may or may not know, by the year 2030, 300 million jobs could be replaced by artificial intelligence.
Mhm.
Could be sooner. There's something new spinning up every single week at this
Feels like it.
point.
It's like
Everyone in
going
yeah,
fast.
it's just everyone and their mom is trying to develop something in the AI space right now. But
And now my mom's clone, right? We're gonna get my mom's clone.
that's right.
On up.
Mama, we need mama clone, nanny
Yeah, there you
clone,
go.
grandma clone. Yeah, but right now is an important time because some people feel like, well, my job can't be replaced, and if you're not in sports, uh, your job can ultimately be replaced. So it's really
Mhm,
just saying, hey, let's all come into an agreement to use this universal system called
mhm,
Aphid, where we have a human identifier that is behind the clones that are operating, right?
mhm,
We call it Aphid ID. So that's the why now part. And then in terms of how long to work on it, it's been a it's been a long time. It's gonna sound like a really long time to say, why aren't you live yet and these different things? But yeah, we ideation was going into 2019. So we were ahead of the curve.
yes.
I know GPT had earlier versions before the popular versions like popped out in like
Mhm.
2021 or whatever. But we're considered in a way OG, not 1956. OG, or Alan Turing,
Yes,
personal
yes, yes.
computer AI OG, right? Or Lovelace OG, but I would still say at least for agentic AI, we were very, very early to the point where we were talking to investors in the early days.
Hmm.
They were saying, "What do you mean bots are going to do tasks for you? I don't understand." And those are the very tough conversations that I was having during that time. So
It's hard to be
5 years
first.
comes
Mm.
fast.
It does.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, 5 years is a long, is actually quite a long time. I think that that gave you opportunity to really get it right, which is important.
Yes, yes. Because there's pricing model. What does this look like? Is the market ready? If you look at Google Glass was released. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe 2012 or 2014, whatever year it was. It was just really early for people. But now
Hmm.
you have the meta glasses and things like that. The
Yep.
market has to be ready. The first person that moves isn't always the one that's the most successful.
Yeah, but the good news is that if you are the first, then it usually means that you've had time to kind of figure out where you went wrong in that first launch or that first piece, and now you've iterated and
Yeah.
made it even better. So I'm excited to see what you guys have with the beta. I would love to kind of ask you a few founder type questions. So, in your experience, failures, successes, what types of things would you say to people who are just getting started? Founders that have maybe they're bootstrapping, they're looking for funding, they're tired. What type of encouragement would you give to them?
Yes, if you are a founder in business in general, a mentor is the best thing that you can get right out the gate. If you get right into a program, and I'm not saying you have to get into an accelerator like a Y Combinator or a Techstars or anything like that, but getting to those programs will help you avoid a lot of the pitfalls and knowing what not to do. Because I guarantee if you don't listen, you're gonna waste 2 to 3 years
Mm-hmm.
making a lot of mistakes. If you're a founder that is in tech, the most important thing that you can do is, even if you're not a technical founder, is just try to be technical on a certain point to at least understand how GitHub works, understand how to organize code and to deploy it. Now, I'm not saying you have to know how to code, but because the future of code is actually through AI now. So going from line to line is
Mm-hmm.
a waste of time now, but knowing the language of what you want to utilize and your what they call a tech stack is really, really important to a founder because, if a CTO leaves and these different things happen, you can kind of jump in and say, well, this show is going to run. That's why Mark Zuckerberg was so successful because he was a technical founder.
Mm-hmm.
Non-technical founders kind of rely on venture capital. They rely on bringing in someone to try to
Mm-hmm.
work for equity. People burn out. They're not getting paid. They leave
Yeah.
you. You restructure and all these different things. So the hardest part about a business is managing people.
Yeah.
But thankfully for you, if you are listening and you're just getting started, lucky you, AI is reaching a peak where there are tools now that can help you build out a lot of these things from a logo to
Mm-hmm.
building your interface of a web application, building mobile applications, and getting you to about 70-80% of where you need to go. And then you can just hire a fractional CTO and
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to spend crazy amounts of money and burn through $100,000 that you may or may not even get from the
Right.
beginning because venture capital is so hard.
Yes. No, well said. And I think too, like coming from the marketing perspective, that's been my whole background is marketing and sales. And, there are so many tools out there that you can use now. And I harp on the website all the time. You don't need the fanciest website in the world, especially for B2B. It needs to be good enough so people don't think you're
Yeah,
shady. But
that's
all of
right.
these startups pour so much money into web builds. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's $60,000 gone. There's 40,000 gone on a color palette. And it's like, I mean, look at Canva. Look at some of these great, like I think it's Gamma,
Yeah,
produces great slide decks really fast. So, that's not to say that's the
yeah.
strategy. Like you said, you do need a mentor, I think, and it's someone to kind of guide you through those processes. But like you said, the tactical stuff, you can find AI. You can use the AI to do it pretty easily.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great time to be alive, and
Crazy
it can.
time, I'll tell you that. It's like, "Alright, hold on, here we go." I always think about,
Yeah,
like, what world are my kids, gonna grow up in? What is it gonna look like for them just even in 10 years, how quickly this is accelerating and how they're learning and how they interact with the world, and it's I don't know.
jobs are gonna be different.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of 3D printing and hardware robotics, learning how to, there are gonna be classes that teach you how to operate robots, how to charge them, how
Yep.
to program them. The jobs will shift
Yes.
if, whatever we were doing for the most part, why not? Like even drive-throughs in certain
Mhm.
fast food restaurants are using chatbots and everything now. So it's a very different time. And some places need it because customer service sucks
Well, that's
in
true. It
in
makes me
fast
think
food.
of, Back to the Future. Did you ever watch Back to the Future with Michael J.
Yeah.
Fox? And, like,
Hmm.
he goes into the '80s cafe, and it's like, oh, the TV's glitching out, and it's horrible, but it's also awesome in comparison. I don't know. I feel like if
Yep.
you did
Yep.
they redid that and they did a Back to the Future now, like, what would that look like? It would be pretty crazy, thinking
Yeah, it
about
would be.
what that is. Um, okay, so I wanna ask, so you've worked with funders and founders, and I wanna understand a little bit about the funding side. So,
Yeah.
as a founder, how did you approach getting funding, or how do you approach funding?
As a founder, listening, put more into grants and angel than you do VC. I am actually not a big fan of VCs. I'm a founder of color, so it's also a different landscape for me
It is.
because less than half of a percent goes to people of color in venture capital.
So
So
I think
really,
women get
it's really
2%.
just a big label of wasted time. What's that?
I said I think women get maybe 2% across the
And then
world.
women, yeah, I was gonna get to
So I'm like,
that.
I mean,
Yeah, and
between the
then
two of us, we're not getting anything. So
yeah, it's like, what are we doing here? And I say that to say, um, build and go get customers, go get revenue and users.
Mhm.
And the venture capitalists that may or may not come to you, at least you have leverage to
Yep.
decide what your terms are going to be, to say, "Oh, well, I'm not giving up a board seat because I'm just at pre-seed. I'm not giving up any board or anything else, and I'm doing a safe note." The companies, people watch Shark Tank and say, you can see the judges asking for 40, 50% of the company, 30% or whatever, and that's just not the real world of what actually exists in terms of what VC looks like. So if you're able to get friends and family, which is hard to get, but if you are able to rally up enough money,
Mhm.
right, to get mom and uncle, whoever, to put in a few thousand, you can get it off the ground, maybe put it into some AI tools and a one fractional CTO, you can build something that you can actually sell. If you're
Yeah.
not in tech and you want to sell coffee mugs or t-shirts or something like that, then or a landscaping company, it's even
Mhm.
easier. You can say, "Oh, I can build a very simplistic website on Wix or Squarespace, and
Mhm.
I can launch, and then I can start bringing in customers." So don't get caught up on trying to raise venture capital because everything is shifting towards independent, just like the music industry where artists used to want to get signed to major labels and
Well
everything else,
said.
but they're only getting what's left over after. So that's going to happen now for founders and VCs, and now VCs are going to be offering a lot more money for
I
better terms for founders because founders are going to have all the leverage over the next 5 to 10 years due to AI.
I love that. I love that image. I'd never thought about it that way before. It's just like musicians getting signed to a label. That's exactly what it is. Startups are signing on to the venture capital label. I love that. That's a perfect
And
way to put it.
they kick you out, yeah, and it's
And you don't
predatory, and
have
you're not
access to
making any
your
money.
songs. You don't own any of the things you're producing. Like that's wow. Way to simplify it. I love that. That's great.
Yeah,
Um, well, for the sake of time, we'll start to wrap up a little bit. I'm going to link to Aphid in the video description. I hope everybody reaches out to Brandon and sign up for the beta because it's going to be amazing. I know I'm signing up. I
thank you.
can't wait. I think it's going to
Appreciate
be
you.
just tremendous. And for the sake of time, what one last question? What are you currently reading?
Oh, good question. So I'm about to read. It's a Nikola Tesla book of all of his writings and everything else. So I was debating between him and Einstein. It's by Walter Isaacson
Okay.
for Einstein, but I'm leaning towards Tesla. So I'm just going through a lot of his writings.
That's
I
great.
just finished Kai-Fu Lee. He had AI in 2025. He had another one called Superpowers AI as well. So that's the one that I just finished. So I kind of bounce. I have a very, it's an, I don't want to say ADD, but I kind of jump between different books sometimes if I just want to uh, get off of that track and I just want to read something else in between. I do that. It's very weird. But sometimes I'll read two different books simultaneously and then I'll go on a run when I want to on the other one, finish
Oh,
it
okay.
out.
No, you're not weird. I mean, I always read the endings because I need to understand if, like, I want to read it, especially if it's a fiction, and that drives my
Yeah,
husband nuts.
yeah.
He's like, "Why are you doing this?" Like, "Well, I need to know if I need to, like, invest my time. If it's not gonna end well, then I don't wanna read it."
That's so funny.
So
That reminds me of my
dumb.
friend Jessica. She will always say, "What happened at the end of the movie?" I'm like, "You're nuts. Like, why do you want to see the ending? That's the best part. You're like, why do
I
you
mean,
want to
because it's kinda
spoil it?"
stressful, like, what if it's not good? And then I'm like, "I've wasted my time." So, no, it's good. Thank you so much for your time. It was a privilege. I really
Thanks,
appreciate
mine.
you being on the show, and, we are expecting and looking forward to all the amazing things that you're gonna do.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.